welcome back to my channel, Adventures with Amirah. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about dealing with negative situations in life and dealing with negative people and just, things that are going on around you that sometimes you cannot control, and how I deal with these things myself and how it's helped me really live a more positive life, because there's always things that are going on, whether it's health problems, whether it's negative people that you work with, negative people within your own family. Sometimes, it's just political things, the news. I mean, there's always something. And I wanted to help people figure out how to deal with that. And every person has their own individual way that they deal with things, but sometimes it just becomes overwhelming, especially if it's somebody that's close to you that's having a negative influence on you. And I have people comment all the time on my channel and message me about dealing with negative situations, so that's what I want to talk about today. The number one thing I can say to you is, when things are seeming so overwhelming for you, I would encourage you to look at what blessings you have in life. And if you don't believe in God, what good karma maybe you have in life. However you want to think of it. But there's always good things that are around us, just like there's negative things. And sometimes there's so much negativity coming in, it almost overshadows your ability to see what's good right in front of you. And good things could be the smallest thing. Somebody smiled at you at the grocery store. That's a blessing, honestly, because some people are so grumpy and you're out in public, and just the simplest thing. And the same thing if you do that for somebody else. That's giving somebody else a blessing in their life. The fact that you woke up and were able to get out of the bed this morning. There's a lot of people that were not. And I deal with this a lot with my children, especially because my kids live a pretty charmed life, especially compared to the way that I was raised. Not so charmed at all, but I did have blessings. There just were some situations that I had to deal with growing up that were very, very difficult, and I've had to deal with those the rest of my life. And so with my kids, they don't really have those kind of issues, and we normally live a pretty harmonious life in our house. But there's still like times that they complain, and times that they can, oh, why is this happening to me, or whatever. And so it's at those times that I teach them to really be more grateful for the things that they do have, instead of focusing on what they don't have. And especially with kids in schools right now, I think that bullying is totally out of control. And I've explained to my kids, bullies don't really go away just because you grow up. There are still bullies that we deal with every day as adults, especially when you're in the public eye like I am on YouTube. You deal with so much negativity, and it can really be, hard on your spirit to just keep going through all of that. And the way that I handle that is, I look at my life and I say, what do you really have to complain about? Like, I have clean drinking water, I have a place to live, I have a healthy family. We've had some health struggles in our life, and so I'm really grateful right now that, we have our health for this moment anyway. And we have food to eat. We have so many things that are just so abundant, and a lot of people in most parts of the world don't have those things. That's not a guarantee every day that you're gonna have food to eat, or you're gonna be safe in your own home. In America, we are very spoiled. I mean, living better than most of the rest of the world, and people just cannot see that. They don't realize how many blessings they have in their life, because they just think, oh, everybody has that. And that's something I would encourage as well, is having a global perspective. And it's hard to get that when you live in your own little bubble. One thing that I taught my kids from a very early age, and my son seemed to really pick up on this when he was little. I remember when he was in preschool, he came home with one of those little handprints. It was like preschool or kindergarten, but the little handprint turkeys that they do at Thanksgiving. He had his little handprint. It was like 5 things he was grateful for. And the first thing he had on that list was that he was thankful for clean drinking water. I mean, how many kids in today's society, especially in America, are even aware of that clean drinking water is a privilege? But I taught him from when he was little, there's kids in some countries, they have to drink the same water that they're bathing in, and that's coming from a river where there's animals in the river with you, and you're drinking the same water. And a lot of those kids get sick from the parasites and stuff. When he was little, he'd be like, but why would they drink that? I was like, because if you don't drink water, you'll die. And it's better to be sick with parasites than to not be alive at all. It really resonated with him, I guess, when he was younger, because he's always carried that with him. He thinks about that all the time, like, I'm so lucky, you know, not only to have my family or, you know, a nice house or go to a good school or whatever, but he thinks about the simple things in life that are so necessary for us to survive. And a lot of people take those things for granted. So that's what I want you guys to do as well, is just think about, on a global perspective, how lucky you are to be wherever you are watching this video from, and the things that you have going on around you that could be so much worse for somebody else. You know, they say there's always somebody worse off, and that's true. Whether you broke your leg and somebody else broke every bone in their body, or you were in a car accident and you survived and maybe somebody else didn't survive, there's always things that are going on around us that can seem like they're so negative, but there's always a little bit of positivity you can pull from. Look at the situations that are going on in different countries, you know, where there are people that are starving, and there are people that are dealing with apartheid, and there are people that don't feel safe in their own homes every day. And when you look at things like that, you realize, wow, you know, I have so much, and these little things that agitate me really aren't big at all in the grand global scheme of things. And that's something that really has helped me, not only with myself, but with the rest of my family, with my children, to be more aware of what other people have, so that you don't feel like, oh, you know, so-and-so has this, and why don't I have that? And I'm like, look at your family. You have like a happy home to live in. But let's just say you don't have a happy home to live in. What is going to keep you in a survival mode long enough to get you through that situation? With me as a child, I was in a really negative situation that I couldn't escape from. And so you learn different defense techniques. I would think of things that made me happy. That's the same thing you can do if you're struggling with chronic pain. You can think of things that will bring you joy, and you can actually train your brain to find the positive things and to focus on those to help eradicate the negativity around you. And people don't realize that. I mean, monks do it. A lot of different people, when they meditate, they're able to do that. And you can actually train your brain to block out pain, to block out anger, and you can to do those things to kind of help yourself survive in certain situations. If it's a negative person at work, you know, I'm the kind of person that's always optimistic. My husband says that's one of the things he loves about me the most. But sometimes I feel that's not only maybe my greatest attribute, but it can be my greatest downfall, because I tend to give people the benefit of the doubt even when I should have stopped a long time ago. And so thank goodness my husband balances me out as far as that's concerned, because sometimes he can see things that I don't see. And that's true in a lot of situations. Like, people tend to just kind of prey on people that are super nice. And so it is hard to be positive all the time when you have negative people. I call them psychic vampires, because it's like you could be having the best mood of your life and you talk to these people and it's like they just drain the life force out of you. And you don't even realize it's happening a lot of times. And one thing that I've had to do, especially with things like Facebook, because I'm so invested in people that when I see people saying things that are mean-spirited or whatever, I feel like I have to try to encourage them in some way to be more happy, or I have to like try to give them, I don't know, maybe like positive affirmations or something. And I've learned that it's best if I kind of back off a little from that, because the truth of the matter is people won't always see the things the way that you do. And if they see a certain situation as like the worst situation in life, unless it's something that they're talking to you about directly, you know, sometimes you do have to just step away, because you can just get sucked in. It's like a black hole of negativity. And there you are, you know, just happily going along. Somebody wants to suck me into this craziness. And so I've just had to learn to kind of insulate myself from that. With Facebook, I've noticed that in America, ever since we had our election, it has taken a horrible, dark turn for the worse. I don't know what is going on with people. It didn't matter like what side they were on. It was like it brought out the worst in some people. They would be in these horrible fights and debates and using, you know, awful language with one another. I don't realize that when you write things down, it's there forever. It just seems like it's even worse, because the person can read it over and over, and then it just, you know, can mutate into something even worse than what it started out as. But there's been quite a few people that I've had to just back away from completely. Another thing I would recommend is, if you're a person that's really sensitive to negativity like I am, I would recommend you don't watch the news all the time. And I'm not saying you have to be totally checked out or totally oblivious to what's going on around you, but I would recommend that you don't watch the news right before you go to bed at night. It's gotten worse as I have gotten older. Once I had kids and stuff, I think I just worry about things a lot more. And if you're a person that deals with a lot of anxiety, then it's something that you really need to be aware of if you're around people in situations that weigh heavily on you or that put you down or make you feel a certain way. It's going to affect you emotionally. It's going to affect your ability to sleep, the way that you eat. It affects everything. And so you really do have to keep in mind that just because society seems like it's all pushing this negative stuff doesn't mean you have to buy into it. And that's how I really try to keep my positive spirit alive. I have subscribers all the time that write to me and say, oh, you always seem so happy and you always seem upbeat, or you can tell you're just a kind-hearted person. And it means the world to me for you guys to talk to me and tell me how my videos affect you. But I think society pushes us to just focus so much on the negative that we've actually lost the ability to recognize the good things around us. And so that's something I really challenge you guys to do, is just take a moment to look around your house, look at things you have to be grateful for within your own life. And it's difficult. You have to literally train your mind to think that way. And for some people, it's very difficult if they've always been a negative person, especially, if you've known somebody that's just always negative. No matter what happens, they're always complaining, always complaining. It's difficult to kind of break through, but who knows what instant they had in their life that changed them into being a negative person. I think that life's experiences influence us so greatly that that's what people bring into situations, is their thought processes on things that have happened in their own life. And then that's so different for each person. That's why we see the same thing in two different manners sometimes. Some person could see one thing and think, oh my God, this is horrible. And another person could see it and be like, wow, this is an amazing opportunity. So you really have to think about that, and having empathy for others will help you as well. For me, even when somebody's being negative, even when somebody's being ugly to somebody else, even when my kids have dealt with bullies at school, the first thought that I have that comes to my mind is, I wonder what they're going through at home. Why would some child be so negative? Why would some child deliberately try to hurt someone else or say ugly things to somebody? Maybe that's what they're going through at home. And I'm not saying that just because you're empathetic that you're saying a situation's okay. That's absolutely not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that it gives you a different perspective to where you don't take things so personally if something's happening in your life. That's mostly what I wanted to talk to you guys about. The way to deal with negativity in my mind is to focus on the positive. And I wanted to give you guys little tools that I use in my own personal life. Those situations come upon you and you feel like you're in a negative space, or if somebody around you is bringing you into a negative space, you really have to be your own advocate for how you're going to choose to handle things. There are negative things in life that are inevitable. The death of a parent, the death of a pet, friendships that don't work out, and there's all these things that could wear you down and make you where you're constantly in a negative headspace or constantly depressed. And these are just the things that I have done in my life to try to always keep a positive spirit about myself, because I have 2 kids and I want to live a happy life and I want to have a loving marriage. And my husband and I have been together 20 years at this point. We're about to have our 19th anniversary coming up. And I still, enjoy his company. And that's what life is all about, finding things that make you happy and not worrying about so much what makes other people happy. Because like I said, everybody's so different. You have to do the things in life that are going to make you feel fulfilled. And you have to do the things in life that are going to bring positive energy to you instead of negative. There might be things going on around you every day that you can't change, but you can change how you react to things. And when worst comes to worst, just think of all the good things. I do want to start a new series, and I wanted to run that by you guys. I want to do an Ask Amirah series to where you guys can ask me questions or talk to me about situations that you're dealing with, and just maybe we can help each other. I can possibly help you figure out how to deal with a situation. I'm willing to talk to you guys about anything. If you feel like it's something too private that you don't want in a public venue, feel free. You can message me over on Instagram and I'll try to help you guys in any way that I can. Thank you guys so much, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.